Glad to see you on my channel. Before we begin, please like and subscribe so you don't miss new episodes. She didn't crack under pressure. She cracked under a question. Not a trap. Not a curveball thrown by someone trying to score political points before the cameras cut away. A question so straightforward that a first-year paralegal at any mid-sized law firm could have answered it without looking up from their coffee. And the Attorney General of the United States couldn't do it. Wouldn't do it. And when the congressman tried to move on, she told him something that nobody in that room had ever heard a witness say out loud. Something that revealed, in a single sentence, exactly how this administration understands accountability. That moment didn't happen in a vacuum. It happened after hours of careful maneuvering, after Bondi had already survived a dozen uncomfortable exchanges by doing what she'd clearly been coached to do. Pivot, deflect, bring up Merrick Garland. Say the word weaponization again. Keep moving. Don't let any single question land with full weight. It was working. For a while, it was genuinely working. Then Joe Neguse got his turn. He's not a showman. He doesn't come in loud and leave with a viral clip he staged from the opening statement. He does something harder and more effective. He watches. He listens to every exchange before his turn. He maps the evasions, catalogs the pivots, identifies exactly which moves the witness has been running, and then he builds something they cannot dodge. He'd been watching Bondi for hours. He knew her entire playbook, and he made a decision most people in that position don't make. He didn't go for the flashy angle. He went for the foundation, because when you pull the right brick out of the foundation, everything above it comes down by itself. He opened with a tweet. Not leaked documents, not a whistleblower's testimony. A tweet Bondi herself posted from her own verified account 6 days before she sat down in that hearing room. If you come for law enforcement, the Trump administration will come for you. A promise. The kind of statement you post when you want the country to see you as the person standing between the thin blue line and everyone who would tear it down. Neguse let it sit. Then he hit play on a video. What filled that room wasn't classified. It was police body cam footage. Footage recorded by the very officers Bondi had just publicly vowed to defend. Footage from January 6th, 2021. In that footage, a man is screaming at Capitol Police. You are the Nazis. You are the Gestapo. Kill him. Yeah, kill him. The man on that footage is a former FBI agent named Jared Wise. And as of last summer, that same man holds a senior advisory position inside Pam Bondi's Department of Justice. The cameras caught her face when the footage ended. There was nowhere to look that wasn't a problem. Neguse's tone when he spoke was almost quiet. Attorney General Bondi, that man works for you now, right? She tried to stall, asked who the congressman was referring to, as though she hadn't been briefed, as though a former FBI agent currently employed at her own department caught on body cam screaming at police was somehow unfamiliar to her. Neguse didn't raise his voice. He laid it out with the patience of someone who already knows how this ends. And Bondi, to whatever credit she can claim for this one moment, didn't lie outright. He does work for us. On the record, in front of the committee, in front of the country, right in the comments. Do you think a presidential pardon should be enough to qualify someone for a senior position at the Department of Justice after footage like this? What's your line? A federal grand jury had indicted Wise on 2 felonies and 4 misdemeanors. One charge specifically for forcibly assaulting, resisting, opposing, impeding, intimidating, and interfering with police officers. That is not a technicality. That is a charge written to describe exactly what he was caught doing on video. Neguse read the record slowly, letting each charge register. Then he looked at Bondi. This is who you choose as the chief law enforcement officer of the United States to bring into the Department of Justice. Someone on video yelling, "Kill him," at police officers. Bondi's entire defense compressed into a single sentence. I believe he was pardoned by President Trump. Stop there. Because that sentence is not just a deflection. It's a window into the complete logic of this administration. The pardon erases not just the legal consequence, but the underlying event. The video that exists. The officers who are on the other end of that scream. Neguse saw exactly where this was going. Oh, he was pardoned. You're right. Pardoned by President Trump for yelling "kill him" at police officers. He paused. Let each word find its place. And yet you expect hard-working police officers across this country to believe that you take law enforcement seriously. She had no answer, because there isn't one. You cannot post, "We will come for anyone who threatens law enforcement," and then employ someone indicted for assaulting law enforcement in a senior position. The contradiction isn't interpretive. It's documented, it's on video, and it was now on the congressional record where it cannot be walked back. Neguse moved to his second subject without theatrics, the public integrity section. Known inside the department as PIN, most people watching had never heard of it. That's not an accident. It's one of those institutional structures that works best when it stays out of the news because its entire purpose is to make sure power doesn't protect power. PIN was built after Watergate, after the country watched the executive branch use federal law enforcement as a personal shield, after the investigation, the tapes, the cover-up, the resignation, after the country decided there needed to be a division inside justice specifically designed to investigate corruption among public officials, regardless of who they were connected to. Gerald Ford created it. That's the answer. 2 words. Gerald Ford. Bondi had dismantled it. Not reorganized, not restructured, gutted. The one corner of federal law enforcement specifically designed to hold powerful people accountable, dispersed in ways investigators have described as effectively ending its independence. So Neguse asked the most basic, most unanswerable question available. Do you know which presidential administration first created PIN? He wasn't testing her on history for sport. He was asking whether the person who made the decision to dismantle it understood what she was undoing, whether she knew why it existed in the first place. Bondi's answer was immediate. I can tell you what administration the weaponization was ended under. She went straight to the word. Weaponization. The shield deployed against every question about accountability. It wasn't a public integrity mechanism that was dismantled. Weaponization was ended. The word does the work that an actual answer cannot do. Neguse had heard enough. I'll reclaim my time. Standard procedure, a member asks. The witness evades, the member moves forward. Happens dozens of times in every major hearing, except Bondi didn't accept it. You don't get to reclaim your time. The room went still, not briefly still. Still in the way rooms go still when something happens that doesn't fit any existing category. Because what she said wasn't just aggressive, it was a claim. A direct assertion that a member of Congress, in the middle of his constitutionally mandated oversight function, did not have the authority to control his own questioning time. Witnesses at congressional hearings do not decide which questions get answered. They do not determine how long responses run. They do not override the process by which elected representatives conduct oversight of the executive branch. That authority does not exist. You cannot find a precedent, a rule, or a statute from any hearing in the history of this country where a witness successfully claimed it. Raskin jumped in immediately, addressing Jordan directly. His voice was controlled, but the urgency was unmistakable. Mr. Chairman, I need to explain to the witness that he does reclaim his time. The room descended into something past controlled chaos. Multiple voices at once. Bondi cutting across Neguse, Raskin addressing Jordan. At one point, Jordan offered to answer Neguse's questions himself, which said everything about how far off script this had gone. Through all of it, Neguse stayed completely calm. When the noise died down enough for a single voice to carry, he answered the question himself. Quietly. Precisely. The president under whom PIN was created was Gerald Ford. It was created after Watergate. I'm not asking you a question, Madam Attorney General. I'm telling you, it was Gerald Ford. He put the correct information on the record, because facts don't stop being facts when the person responsible for knowing them refuses to say them out loud. Where are you watching from right now? Drop your country or city in the comments. He moved to his final point without breaking stride. The National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team. Eliminated under Bondi's watch. A specialized unit built to investigate fraud, money laundering, and manipulation in crypto markets. The kind of complex financial crime that requires dedicated expertise to prosecute effectively. How many people currently work there? Bondi refused to answer. Not, I'll provide that in writing. Not, I'd need to check. A refusal. Neguse already knew why. He turned to Jordan. I might as well ask the chairman these questions. The questions I've asked are not trick questions. They're not gotcha questions. They're basic questions about how the Department of Justice functions, and the unwillingness of this Attorney General to answer them in good faith speaks for itself. Then he pressed further. When a member of Congress asks how many people work at a federal enforcement team and the Attorney General refuses to answer, it's not a coincidence. It's because the team no longer exists in any meaningful form. And the reason it no longer exists is because her boss has made approximately $1.4 billion through cryptocurrency over the past year. The unit built to investigate cryptocurrency fraud was eliminated. The Attorney General won't answer basic questions about staffing. And the president who appointed her has personally profited to the tune of $1.4 billion from the industry that unit was built to police. These things are all true simultaneously. They sit on the public record. And the Attorney General of the United States refused to discuss any of them. Neguse looked straight at Jordan. What is happening at the Department of Justice is a disgrace, Mr. Chairman, and I would urge you to get control of this hearing. Here's what tends to get lost in the post-hearing commentary. Neguse didn't win that exchange because he's a better debater. He wasn't there to debate. He was there to put facts on the record, to make the committee and the country understand what has changed at the Department of Justice, why it changed, and what the consequences are likely to be. A senior DOJ employee on body cam footage screaming at Capitol Police, indicted for assaulting law enforcement, pardoned. Now a senior advisor to the Attorney General who publicly promised to protect law enforcement. The division built after Watergate to ensure political power cannot shield powerful people from accountability, dismantled. The unit built to investigate cryptocurrency fraud, eliminated while the president profits from cryptocurrency. And when a member of Congress asked the Attorney General to account for any of this, she told him he didn't have the right to move on. That's not the clip. That's the story. Genuine question before this ends. If you were sitting in that hearing room, what would you have needed to hear from Bondi to walk away factually satisfied? Not politically, just factually. An explanation for the wise hire that went beyond the pardon. A number for the crypto team. A rationale for dismantling PIN. Write it in the comments. What does the strongest version of that argument even look like? The word accountability gets deployed so frequently it has almost lost meaning. But the thing it actually describes is not complicated. You did a thing. You explain the thing. You say what you did, why you did it, and what you expected to happen. You do this under oath in public, before representatives of the people affected by the decision. That's all it is. What Bondi did was refuse that mechanism, not once, on a single sensitive question, repeatedly, systematically, on questions as basic as who created a division and how many people work at an agency. And when the congressman tried to move past the non-answers, she told him he didn't have the right to do that either. You don't get to reclaim your time means I decide how this goes. That is not the Attorney General's call to make. And the fact that a sitting Attorney General said it on camera, in a congressional hearing room, in front of the Judiciary Committee and the entire country, is going to mean something. Whether it produces consequences in the current political environment is a different question, but it is on the record now. Neguse put Gerald Ford's name on the record. He put the indictment charges for Jared Wise on the record. He put the $1.4 billion figure on the record, calmly, without a raised voice. And then he told the chairman the hearing was a disgrace. He wasn't wrong. The record is the record. And right now, it says everything.